Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of B-Flicks. I'm Gavin, and with me as always is my fellow cinematic addict, Neville.
In this video, we'll be discussing Turbulent Skies, another movie starring Casper Dien and Patrick Muldoon.
We'd like to thank one of our viewers, Aaron Kelly, for suggesting this movie after seeing our Born to Ride review.
Yeah, thanks Aaron. This movie was ridiculous. It made Born to Ride look decent.
Yeah, Born to Ride was a really fun movie to review, so we were really looking forward to reviewing Turbulent Skies, and it didn't disappoint. It has the same stiff acting, horrible writing, and nonsensical plot.
In the opening scene, we see a plane that's entered a storm. I'm assuming the shaky camera work was supposed to convey the feeling that the plane is hitting bad turbulence. But it just made me feel a little nauseous.
Yeah, wait until this scene is over to get started on your popcorn and soda. Don't say we didn't warn you.
Yeah, I'll admit, I threw up in my mouth a bit.
TMI, buddy, that's just gross. Anyway, they lose one of their engines, and then this lady informs us that the other engine is on fire.
The wing's on fire! The wing's on fire!
Do you think all of her lines were written twice, or do you think she just likes to repeat herself?
It's just lazy writing, man. It's just lazy writing.
In a Dien Muldoon film? No.
Did it seem weird to you how relatively calm everyone was, considering the circumstances?
That did seem a bit weird. But back in the cockpit, the pilots are losing it!
Yeah. When they can't get the second engine to start back up, he just freezes, and the co-pilot has to call Mayday to air traffic control.
Yeah, the co-pilot is like, Mayday! Mayday! We've lost both engines and the captain's turkey neck is about to go critical!
The plane crashes, and then we see a special news report that looks like it was made by a high school drama class.
You hear stories about these pilots falling asleep or using their laptops on the plane. I just hope somebody can do something to make it safe up there again.
I say, if they can make it safer, go for it. But life goes on.
I gotta travel for my work, We don't really have a choice.
I'm willing to bet they just approached people on the street and asked if they wanted to be in a movie. The acting is some of the worst I've ever seen, and I've watched all the Neil Breen films.
Then we meet Muldoon's character, Charles Devane, who is the least convincing business person I've ever seen. Just like in Born to Ride, he seems like a surfer bro doofus.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Devane.
Oh, please. Call me Chuck.
He talks about the plane crash and reveals that the solution that his company has created is the CD-70.
This thing is clearly a cheap knockoff of HAL from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, if HAL was an ashtray stuffed with cheap Christmas lights and attached to a cheap box.
We're also introduced to Casper Van Dien's character, Tom Woodard, as well as his wife, Samantha, played by Nicole Eggert.
Tom and Sam are a husband and wife team, the best we have, and they have almost single-handedly designed the CD-70 from the ground up.
For something so important, you would think they'd have a team of programmers and engineers, but instead they just leave it up to some guy and his wife. We'll later see that this guy has the engineering skills of a third grader.
This movie was shot in 2010, a few years after the first smartphone, and this successful engineer is still using a flip phone?
It's also revealed that this husband and wife duo are having some relationship problems.
So once again, this is all about Charles.
There is nothing going on between Charles and I.
Does this matter to the plot?
No, not really. It's revealed that they're going to test the CD-70 for the audience of the presentation, but Tom objects.
The CD-70 was specifically designed to be used on an unoccupied plane, not a commercial airline full of people. That was the deal.
Is that the best take they could get?
Come on, Neville, you're acting like this movie actually has a budget. Oh, shit, I flubbed that line. Can we do that over?
No, it's fine. We'll fix it in post.
Charles tries to convince everyone that the flight will be safe and uneventful.
Now, Charles, sincerely, do you think this will be possible?
Malcolm, trust me, this is the real deal.
Really?
Absolutely. Would I lie to you? Excuse me.
Okay, please.
The audio quality in this scene is worse than some of our early videos.
People still complain about our audio quality, but I think we've improved quite a bit.
We're just two guys shooting YouTube videos after hours in a movie theater. What do they expect?
Whoa, calm down, buddy. Most of our feedback is pretty positive. Some people have just said our audio could be improved a bit.
What the hell's going on out there?
Don't worry, we'll fix it in post.
In the next scene, we see Tom explaining to his kid that he has to cancel their plans. The kid is probably the most convincing actor in the entire movie.
Something's come up, I'm gonna have to cancel.
Dad, but I thought we were gonna spend the day together.
Tom calls a fellow programmer on his team.
Nerd Central.
It's Tom.
Hey, Tom. Did I hear correctly they're using passengers with the CD-70 test?
Wait a second. How did this guy hear about this already? The only reason Tom knew is because he was watching them live.
Tom goes to confront Mr. Devane, but he gives him hush money in the form of a check for...
$1 million.
Wait! Look at the check! He didn't didn't take it out and just handwrite it. He had a pre-printed check for $1 million. Does this guy just keep $1 million checks in his coat pocket on the chance that he might have to bribe one of his employees?
The first sign of trouble is that the cabin temperature is not set properly. Charles likes it at 68 degrees, but it's currently set to 88 degrees.
It even knows what temperature Mr. Devane likes the cabin set at.
So, what temperature does Mr. Devane like his cabin set at?
68 chilly degrees.
Yeah, this thing's set at 88.
Come on. They had to look at the readout to tell that the temperature was wrong?
Yeah, at 88 degrees, they'd all be sweating their asses off in there.
In the next scene, Samantha discovers that Charles has been tinkering with the system.
Thank you for flying Devair.
What is that?
Just a little modification of my own.
That is a complex computer system, not your toy.
So, this whole problem starts because Charles wanted to give the computer a sexy voice?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh yeah, this is a Muldoon character we're talking about here. The guy at Nerd Central calls Tom to let him know that there's a problem. The plane is off course and the CD-70 has locked him out and it's not responding.
Apparently, the computer likes storm chasing.
Tom explains to Mr. Devane that the plane is heading into a storm and they can't communicate with it.
Do you want to land that plane safely? Or do you want this entire project to crash and burn on its maiden voyage? My wife, your son, are on that plane.
The line delivery here makes it sound like he's married to Mr. Devane's son.
The pilots realize they're off course and heading into a storm, and they try to alert the passengers, but apparently the computer has turned off their intercom. Why would the computer even need the ability to do that?
Who the hell knows? There's a news report from the same airport with the same reporter from earlier. Do they only have one reporter for this network?
The pilot and co-pilot try to disable the CD-70, but both get shocked and incapacitated. Then Tom tells his wife to do the exact same thing they were just doing.
We're gonna have to deactivate the system. As long as the CD-70 is flying that plane, there's no telling what it will do.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna try.
Well, he was suspicious that she was cheating on him. If he wanted to offer, I'm just saying, he would be a fool to pass up this opportunity.
But she's not able to fix the problem. The general decides they may need to shoot the plane down, but Tom says there may be a way to override the system. But only he could do it.
The general says they have a modified jet that can catch up to the plane and dock with it, so Tom can board the plane. This is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen outside of a Sharknado film.
The general goes to brief the fighter pilots and tells them that the plane will reach Cleveland in 20 minutes.
The plane is approximately 20 minutes from the Cleveland area.
Then, as the pilots exit one door, another man enters the other door and tells them that they're on the news.
We're on the news.
CZN's airport correspondent reports that there have been rumors that the military is going to shoot down the plane.
Air Force will not comment on rumors that F-15s have been scrambled to possibly intercept the flight.
How did this get out?
Keep in mind, this is just seconds after the general spoke to the pilots. Who was her informant? One of the pilots?
Even the pilots wouldn't have time to tell her. They just walked out of the room.
At any rate, this chick is good.
Aboard the modified jet, Tom is told that they'll reach the plane in 35 minutes.
Visual confirmation of flight 405 in approximately 35 minutes.
But earlier, the general said the plane would reach Cleveland in 20 minutes.
Well, say goodbye to your wife, Tom.
She was a cheating hoe anyway. Not that Tom had any evidence. He was just an insecure dweeb.
Back on the plane, the CD-70 has turned off the oxygen in the passenger compartment. Why would this need to be a feature in your autopilot system?
Tom boards the plane and goes to the cockpit. They have very limited time, but Tom decides to tidy up the cockpit by removing the bodies of the captain and the co-pilot.
Yeah, they were going to reach Cleveland in 20 minutes, and that was about 30 minutes ago. But Tom, he's just dicking around.
Tom attempts to short out the CD-70 so they can regain manual control of the plane, but he gets shot, and he says that the CD-70 is fighting back.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say it just tried to hurt me.
Lame.
Tom managed to disable the CD-70, but they notice fighter jets alongside the plane, and they have no way to communicate with them because the radio is down.
Tom!
Get this, Tom just randomly shoves 3 wires into a hole and gets shot. But somehow he managed to reconnect the radio, and they contact air traffic control to advise them that they have regained control of the plane. And the general tells the fighter pilots to abort.
Stand down.
Roger that. Return to base.
End of movie, right? Wrong. They still have to tell Samantha how to land the plane. This exact scenario has played out in countless movies and TV shows, but never has it been so boring. There was no sense of danger or urgency.
They tell her the runway should be in sight, but she's practically on top of it.
Now you should have the runway in sight.
But in the very next scene, she's still a few thousand feet in the air, and the landing gear's not even down yet. Samantha lands the plane, everyone cheers, and we see another news broadcast from that same reporter.
You know, it's little details like this that make or break a movie. Throughout the entire ordeal, they had the same reporter every time, You would think they would want someone different on the scene in Cleveland. If you compare all of the reporters' scenes, you can tell they were all just shot at the same time. This is just lazy.
And that was Turbulent Skies. Thanks again to Aaron for suggesting this movie. It was entertainingly horrible, and made our love of the Van Dien Muldoon duo grow.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. We're definitely going to watch more of these guys.
Oh yes, absolutely. We're always open to suggestions, so if anyone has any other movies they would like us to review, please leave a comment down below.
And until next time,
we're
the City Geeks! There's a car in the background. They just walked out of the room.
At any rate, this chick is good.
I'm going to have to redo my line because of that bird.
Oh, okay. Oh. And we see another news broadcast from that same reporter. Oh, you bastard!